Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of United Talks podcast. We've gone silent this past couple of days. I think a whole lot's been happening. Yeah, quite featured in some podcasts a few days ago and all of that. So, but then, we have to keep it going. A few things have happened over the last weekend, starting from Valentine's Day. Today is 18th, 4 days after. But yeah, we won't stop bringing you the news. We'll give you as it is and all of that. So yeah, just welcome. We're going to do a deep dive. But February 2026 at Old Trafford, the mood is the best it's been in decades, or in a decade, as the case may be. Michael Carrick kind of stabilizing the ship, and football is fluid, and Theatre of Dreams feels like, fortress again. But behind the scenes at Carrington, there is thick and there's a different kind of energy, and it's the sound of a total, structural audit. We need to look at what is actually going on at the club and where the club is headed, what direction the club is headed, especially when it comes to signings and midfield. We're entering in what might be the most consequential summer in Manchester United modern history. And the Ineos hierarchy, led by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and technical director or sporting director Jason Wilcox, aren't just looking for players, they're looking for, a new identity. They've been moving around, up and down with a few things, like, with the sacking of Erik ten Hag to the hiring of Ruben Amorim, and now with an interim Michael Carrick, but there's rumors swirling, that Bruno Fernandes is or has issued a staggering stay or a go ultimatum regarding Michael Carrick, and the board has been forced to accelerate the search for the next great United midfield. We'll talk about Man United's manager and manager search in another video. There's already like 2 videos in the making for that, but for this one, we're just going to talk about the search for a Man United midfielder. Ruben Amorim's desire for a midfield hasn't gone unnoticed, and we can always talk about it. But today we're diving deep into the rumor mill of the last maybe 3-4 days. We're talking about the unappreciated Martin Ødegaard, the homesick Cole Palmer, the forbidden move for Alexis McAllister, and the potential homecoming of Scott McTominay. This is kind of like news from the last week or thereabout. The question is this a board in panic or a board evaluating a cold, calculated master plan to reclaim Premier League? But can these players give us the Premier League? We'll talk about these players, and we'll talk about one more midfielder maybe in another video. But we are going to analyze the tactics, the finances, and the Wilcox game model that, most people need to really kind of understand. What kind of plan does Manchester United have, especially going into this very crucial summer? So, we're diving, these shock links, no bias, no clickbait, just deep dive into the search for United's new engine room. So let's get into it. Now, the fact is, this is a full disclaimer, that these midfielders this is just rumors. We're analyzing just the rumors. These midfielders are in no way the Man United engine room, or in no way close to replacing Bruno Fernandes in the Man United midfield. These midfielders are in no way replacing those, right? But we're going to talk about Bruno Fernandes and his ultimatum that he's giving to Man United. So, walk with me. To understand the recruitment strategy, we have to basically understand and start with the man currently wearing the armband. And it's February 16th. This is February 18th. The biggest story of the club isn't a result, it's a standoff. Reports were suggesting that Bruno Fernandes has told the club that he's 100% leaving, if reports are to be believed, if Michael Carrick is replaced as manager. I don't think that is true. You can think of it, or take it with a pinch of salt, or make of it what you will. For the board, this is a nightmare scenario. For most Man United fans, they were like, this guy needs to leave. We need to sell him. We need to cash in on Bruno. On one hand, Carrick has been a revelation. On the other, Ineos have been linked with heavyweight managers like Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann, Thomas Tuchel, who's already signed an extension, by the way. We'll analyze that. Even another manager, which we're going to talk about in another video. Now, the perspective of the board is that They see Bruno as a legendary servant, but at 31, his market value is at its peak. If he wants to follow his ambition to Bayern Munich, who are particularly interested, the board has to decide, do we fight to keep the unsettled captain, or do we use a potential £70 million fee to fund a 23-year-old successor? And I have one midfielder that I think is going to be a very good successor. It's not the loud names that you hear. It's not the names that makes the headlines, the Carlos Balebas of this world or the Andersons of this world. But a midfielder that can play multiple positions in that midfield. We'll talk about him in another video. But tactically, United have, relied on Bruno's hero ball for years. Jason Wilcox wants to move away from his individual brilliance towards a more structured possession-based 4-3-3. If Bruno leaves, it isn't just a loss of goals, it's a total shift in how United progress the ball. This brings us to the first names on the replacement list, especially for Bruno Fernandes, right? The first person is the North London Shock, which is Martin Ødegaard. And this was news we had 2 days ago, I think. If you told an Arsenal fan last season that Martin Ødegaard would be linked to or linked with a move to Old Trafford, they would actually laugh. They'll laugh at you. But in February 2026, the situation at the Emirates has turned sour. Arsenal are top of the league, yet their captain is reportedly deeply unappreciated. With only 1 goal and 4 assists in 19 appearances, that is not our fault that he's unappreciated. That is not his fault. It's not the club's fault that he hasn't scored more goals. He's had a recurring knee injury and has seen himself rotated out for Declan Rice and most likely younger profiles. Because of Martin Ødegaard, Waneri has been sent to the French league because of Martin Ødegaard. Now, why are United interested in him? Basically, of which I know I'm not interested. It's just a rumor. I wouldn't want Martin Ødegaard at my club as a fan, but the rumor mills are, swirling. The elite reporters on X suggest that Ødegaard has already told his agent to open talks with United from what they have said. But from a board perspective, this makes a tactical sense, right? According to the board, for the profile of players, with regards to the technical flow, Ødegaard is one of the few players with a higher technical ceiling than some players. And one would argue, oh, is he better than Bruno Fernandes? That's a lie. He's not. With regards to leadership, well, he's not as good a captain as Bruno Fernandes. With regards to the Arteta rift, there's high tension between the player and the manager, which usually leads to a market opportunity. But I don't think Man United should go for this opportunity because Ødegaard is absolutely going to flop. If he thinks that playing at Arsenal is the way forward, playing at Arsenal was tough. Playing at Man United is tougher. It's a different beast, but it is what it is. I'm just giving you the rumors. Arsenal are in the title race. Selling their captain to a rival in the summer is a PR disaster. But if the player is 100% willing to leave, United should not go for this option. United should not go for this option. Trust me, whether he has the ability to control the tempo of games, whether he has the ability to wield passes and do all of those things, I don't believe that Ødegaard can even lace the boots of Bruno Fernandes. No disrespect to the kind of player that he is. Considering what Bruno Fernandes has achieved, Ødegaard will find it difficult to fill those boots. But it is what it is. Now, we're going to talk about another person, and that is in the person of Cole Palmer. Another potential replacement based on the rumors. We move to what the board considers a dream target, and that is Cole Palmer. The Wythenshawe born star is currently the crown jewel of Chelsea's project. However, the rumors are intensifying. Palmer is reportedly homesick, missing the Northwest, and crucially, he is a boyhood Manchester United fan. Everybody has talked about that, but I'm not even looking at him. I'm not even looking at his ability to come and fit into the squad. I'm not even looking at the ability for him to come and replace Bruno Fernandes because it's a different beast again, playing for Manchester United. He might have played for City, but that was even an easy beast. This one is a different beast altogether. Now, I'm hearing that Jason Wilcox knows Cole Palmer than most from his time at Manchester City. He sees Palmer as a winger, but as the ultimate number 10. Not as a winger, but as the ultimate number 10 in a modern 4-3-3, right? With regards to his productivity, yes, Palmer has done way better than Martin Ødegaard. He has 41 goals, 19 assists in 82 appearances, 82 Premier League games. And basically that can be seen as world class. With regards to how versatile he is, he can play on the right wing, central attacking mid, and even as a false nine, fitting Carrick's fluid system perfectly. But is Carrick going to be here long term? That's one question we have to ask. With regards to the financial obstacle with this, Chelsea considers him as an untouchable asset with a contract until 2033. You know, they hold all the cards, and the price tag is a staggering 150 to 200 million pounds, right? The United board is currently crunching the numbers, and it's better to buy 360 million players. Now, that will be the question, right? Is it better to buy 360 million players or to go for an 80 million Cole Palmer, 180 million Cole Palmer? For me, you know my stance on this. Like, I'd rather we don't even bother. But it is what it is. Now, if Cole Palmer forces a move, it becomes a more significant north to south transfer between the Premier League, between Man United and Chelsea, and in the Premier League, it's kind of like a, it's kind of like a conundrum. But for now, he is the white whale of the recruitment department, of which I know Man United are not going in. Like I said, these are all rumors, and you make of it what you will, right? Now, the next one is what I tag the forbidden bridge. The forbidden bridge, and that is the Alex McAllister situation. If Ødegaard links are shocking, then the Alexis McAllister rumors are explosive. Now, the reason why I brought this up is because I went online and I checked the whole internet, checked Manchester United news, checked Manchester Evening News, I checked Top Skills Sports in the UK. Top Skills Sports is an account on X, on X that reports UK news. And they've made a direct contact with that. They've stated that Man United have made direct contact with Liverpool midfielder Alexis McAllister. Report claims that McAllister is unhappy and United are reportedly ready to offer £250,000 a week to tempt the World Cup winner across the M62. Now, the logic behind this, and that's why I think Man United will be thinking about this, or why it will be rumored, is why would the board risk the wrath of both fan bases for McAllister? That's a wild question. Because first and foremost, retention. McAllister is elite at keeping the ball under pressure, a key tenet of Wilcox's game model. But then, I've watched enough of McAllister to actually tell that, man, this guy is just an okay player. He's good. Liverpool fans are going to come for me and say, oh, why am I underrating the player? He's good, but yeah, man. Like, he's 27, he's coming around his peak, and we remember those rules and regulations that the Ineos group came out with, saying that they're not going to sign any player that is older than 25 and all of that. The one thing that the one box that McAllister ticks is the age profile. He's 27. You know, he's in his prime and ready to lead the midfield for the next 4 or 5 years. Yes, no doubt. We got Bruno at 25, and then he came and played 6 years. He's going to be 31 this year. But is he a Bruno replacement? That's my question. He's more defensive, you know. He's more defensive, but when his stats don't actually state that he's more creative. That's the thing. So it is practically unproductive to actually get a player like Alexis McAllister. But well, these are the rumors. I brought it to you. I don't usually like to do rumors because I won't bring to you news that I have not verified, and I won't bring to you news that I have not thought about, and basically thought about the logic behind getting it. Like for these ones, I don't even see, like these 3 midfielders I've mentioned, I don't see the logic behind getting them. right? However, Liverpool are historically unwilling to do a deal with United unless McAllister hands in a formal transfer request that remains mostly speculative. But, well, it'll be fascinating to see, right? It'll be fascinating to see what the list of midfielders Man United are interested in. And these three players I've mentioned, they're not going to come cheap. So why are we going for really expensive stuff? Well, like we said, it's just rumors. We're going to just talk about it. Now, with regards to the last midfielder on this list, is the return of the McTominator. Return of Scott McTominay. I heard this, I saw this, and the logic behind this is that he is about to get a new contract, or he's negotiating a new contract. So I understand that. Obviously, some of these rumors are going to be swirling, right? The board hunts for superstars. There is a grounded tactical move being discussed on the return of Scott McTominay, right? Sold to Napoli in 2024 for 25 million, McTominay has been a revelation in Italy, helping them in Serie A. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, some of the United board feel his sale was a mistake. Everybody knew that the sale, £25 million, was a mistake. But we had to let him go because obviously we needed to do some PSR thing. Now, the new McTominay in Napoli has played a more advanced role, becoming a goal-scoring machine. He's been a goal-scoring machine for Man United. He's been scoring goals before he was sold. I think he's 27 now, was sold when he was 25. Just about to turn his peak. This is a Man United through and through. He's an academy graduate, came through the academy, brought through by Jose Mourinho. United are reportedly kind of accelerating to bring him back to United, right, to the club, to Old Trafford. Now, the homing factor, which is one of the reasons why he's being linked, is the fact that he knows the club, right? He loves the club, and he's a fan favorite. So maybe trying to appease the fans and all of that. Well, that's kind of the reasons. One of the reasons why I brought you this analysis, or brought you this talk about Scott McTominay. Now, with the bargaining chip here, Napoli are trying to sign him for a new deal until 2030, but the dream of a return is being used by his camp. And that is a potential, more like to get Napoli to throw Man United in the mix and get Napoli to basically sign him on a new deal. But for the board, McTominay represents a squad depth plus. He's a player who can come off the bench and change the game, or start as a physical number 8 to protect a more creative number 10. I feel like McTominay being in this Man United midfield, whether under Ten Hag or he played well under Ten Hag. So whether under Amorim or even Michael Carrick, would have also helped lead this team forward, even with Bruno Fernandes. Can play in the 10, can play in the 6, can play in the 8. Like, can play across the midfield, and he's very athletic. He's good at ball carrying. He's not as injury prone as most players and all of that. So these are the things we need to actually think about, right? He represents obviously someone who is United through and through. But if United let go, obviously at the end of the season, Casemiro is going this summer. McTominay is kind of like the next in line, should be the next in line, especially with his physicality. But then, is he, for someone who got to Ballon d'Or top 10 and he was number 6, is he the player that kind of fits into that midfield mold of our defensive midfield? That remains to be seen, because he's more of an attacking player, or he's more of a number 8. And that means if he comes, he puts Kobe Mainoo on his toes, right? Now we're going to kind of just get the board's final vision and basically get an idea of what they're thinking. But these are all rumors, like I said. So what does this all mean? When you look at these names, Palmer, Ødegaard, McAllister, McTominay, a pattern emerges. And that's why we're trying to get the temperature, basically, of all these news. Manchester United board is no longer buying for clout. They are buying for a tactical technicality. But they also want players who don't lose the ball. That's the fact. They want players who can press. They can also They also want players who can have a deep personal connection to the shirt or the city. But the first three that I mentioned, Palmer, Ødegaard, and McAllister, they have nothing to do with Man United except for Scott McTominay. The search for a new midfielder is effectively the search for a new Manchester United, and it's an admission that the Bruno era or the high-risk, high-reward football is kind of coming to an end, and the Carrick era of controlled elite level possession is beginning. That is basically for the interim role, because if Carrick is to be given the job, then he has to be given the players. Now, the big question for you guys who are watching this, because basically you've all listened to all rumors and stuff, and they might not have bases, but there's no smoke without fire. The board has a limited budget and you can only pick one path. First, the record breaker, you spend 180 million on a Kopama and build the next decade around him. Could that be the case? Or the revival raid where you bring in a Martin Ødegaard to dictate the game and take, charge. I wouldn't say he can be the next captain, because obviously we know the next captain can never be Martin Ødegaard, even if he comes to this team. He doesn't even walk into this team. Number three question is that, do you take a balanced rebuild in this? You sign Scott McTominay and the young prospect like probably Adam Wharton or Carlos Baleba, spreading the risk and basically building your midfield around these three, including Kobe Mainoo, as the case may be. Now, which path should Jason Wilcox take in all of this? Should he get a 180 million Kopama, or sign Martin Ødegaard, or get a balanced rebuild? Like, get on with the balanced rebuild. You guys already know where my take is, right? Now, is it time to say goodbye to Bruno Fernandes to fund the future, or is he still indispensable? For me, I would say Bruno Fernandes has been, pretty, productive and in this team. So drop your comments in the section. I'll be in the comment section. I will be down there to discuss this, tactical shift and how it fits Man United, especially in our future and all of that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as relates to Manchester United. Like I said, drop your comments in the comment section. I'll be right there to kind of analyze with you and break it down. And I try my best to reply to all comments. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.